Hi everyone, welcome to Morning Matcha. I'm here today with Whitney Tingle and Danielle Dubois, who are founders and co-CEOs of Sakara, a wellness company based on food as medicine.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming here today.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to finally meet you guys.
ditto.
I love your business and I use your products all the time. I sell them at the fullest and I really believe in them and so grateful they exist and that you two exist.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for having us.
It's nice to have you in the city.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. And the weather's been nice up until today.
Until a couple hours ago.
But I love just talking to you, being here right before getting started and noticed you guys just have such great chemistry. And I want to know how you met, how long it's been. Tell me everything.
It's been a lifetime.
Or maybe more.
Or longer. We've known each other since we were kids. And we grew up together in Sedona, Arizona. Have you ever been there?
I've never been, but I've heard such great things.
You have to go because you live so close.
I know, and there's
Coast.
vortexes there.
Mm-hmm. You can really feel the energy. It's a different type of energy there.
Yeah, it's not only beautiful aesthetically, but it has a very particular energy to it. People come from all over the world for healing. There's the magnetic forces, which are the vortices that are all over the rocks. It's beautiful hiking, and it attracts a very particular crowd.
Yeah.
There's a lot of new age people, a lot of hippies. We grew up with this kid and his family ate sunshine, like they were Aryans.
Oh my gosh,
so
were they really?
Yeah. So you have people from all different walks of life. And I think that really not only impacted our friendship, but, impacted adulthood and how we sort of manifested Sakara. Because at a young age, when you're surrounded by all these different ways of thinking, you know that there are all these different ways to exist in the world. And it's really inspiring.
Yeah, and that it's up to you to create whatever it is that you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it felt like there were endless possibilities growing up there.
So how old were you when you met?
I think we were 12. Maybe younger.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we had probably met younger. We just we really connected.
Yeah, at that age.
Whitney
That's when we became
to my
best
school.
friends. Right.
Yeah.
I was the new girl in school. And Danielle sat in front of me in first period math class. And I remembered even just the first time we interacted, she was sitting in front of me and she reached back over her chair. She leaned back over. She said, "Hi, I'm Danielle."
And I think she borrowed a pencil or something.
I did.
And our math teacher had a shaved head and a nose
was
ring.
Was a vegan.
And I think she was a raw foodist.
Oh, raw foodist.
Oh my
gosh. I remember her crunching on carrots all the time.
Right. How do you remember this? And that's crazy because raw food hasn't been on people's radar for very long.
And that was a while ago. We
Yeah.
don't have to say how long, but
right.
Did you think so? You were accepting of it at that time then?
Of that kind of lifestyle?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I remember the principal. I remember she got a nose ring while she was already a teacher. Mm-hmm. And the principal was kind of okay, but no more piercings. But our principal of the school to our math teacher.
Oh my gosh,
But it was totally accepted. I mean, there's a big Wicca community there. There's a big Osho community there.
Yeah. I mean,
she was definitely not the weirdest.
My parents were doing master cleanse and, my mother grinding her own peanut butter. I was like the kid in school that nobody wants to trade lunch with.
Yeah.
Your peanut butter and jelly sandwich is the bread with all the twigs and berries sticking out of it. I was like, "Mom, why can't I just have the white bread?"
The Wonder Bread?
Yeah, the Wonder Bread. I really wanted Wonder Bread. It looked amazing. But
your mother was smart.
Yeah. And, at that time, you don't understand why you're different or why she's making these choices and you're living this way. Mm-hmm. But now I look back and I'm so grateful that she had that knowledge and that strong belief system and kind of instilled that in me of, as soon as I was able to read, she taught me how to read an ingredients label. Aww. I remember as a kid, in the grocery store, her teaching me to turn something over and look at the back and read the ingredients, that was the most important thing.
Yeah.
Was not looking at how many calories or how to read a nutrition facts label or anything about that, but just about what's in this. Is it made with good ingredients? Is it healthy for you? What are these other ingredients like preservatives? and hydrogenated oils, and being able to then recognize that for myself, even as a child, so that I could go out and make healthy choices for myself.
How empowering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I thought, that was kind of normal because everybody was kind of doing that in Sedona.
Yeah.
We had friends that, I remember they would make popcorn and put the nutritional yeast on it.
Oh my gosh.
Or like people
which
are
is the
drinking like
best.
raw milk and eating raw cheese.
Still are. But, then that's a very different lifestyle from coming to New York City. So Danielle and I, we grew up together. We played volleyball in school together all year round. We were in student council together. Really just, and we were best friends, and our families would spend holidays together even.
Do you have siblings?
We do, but they're all older than us.
Well,
Yeah,
so you
much
really
older. I was
connected.
basically an only child. Whitney grew up with her sister.
Yeah, my
around.
sister is 6 years older than me. So she was in the house while I was really young, but then all through high school, she was already out of the house.
Yeah.
But
And then what brought you to New York?
Well, I came to New York first, and I came for college. I came to study pre-med, so I did my undergraduate in biochemistry. And then Whitney came just as I was about to graduate, and right after she had graduated from U of A in Arizona.
yeah, I moved out to work on Wall Street. I thought I wanted to be like Susie Orman.
Do you know Susie Orman?
She's
No.
she's on TV. She's like the financial
used to be
advisor on
Oprah
TV.
all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
As like the
Yeah,
financial
yeah.
consultant, and she would like help people. Like they'd be like, I really want to buy these Christian Louboutins. Do I have enough money? And she'd like almost always
you
say
cannot
no.
buy those shoes.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
you're in luck. You have saved enough money in your account. You can get those shoes.
Oh my
Or you can buy
gosh.
that boat.
And you wanted to be her.
Well, she was one of the only real strong women
In the
talking
financial,
about talking about you can own your own finances.
Yeah, and financial security.
Yeah, and that to me, just for so long, was such a male role that men worked in finance, that men were in control of the household finances, and seeing her, I watched her once again, like with my mother, that my mother ran her own business and would watch her for inspiration. And so I would watch her too and see, this woman being able to calculate out, this is how much money you have. This is how much money you should be saving, planning for the future. And it was really inspiring to me.
Yeah.
And being able to be in control of your own future like that. And so I wanted to come and work on Wall Street and be a financial advisor. So I came out to work for Merrill Lynch. And
In 2008.
in 2008.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a crazy time to be joining the world of finance. But, it was really what I got to see was what that lifestyle looks like. And in New York City, you have no time. You're always in a rush. I was trying, I like I said, I thought that finance was a male industry. And there weren't too many women in the industry when I was joining in 2008. And so when I came in, I thought the way to win was to act like the men. Just do it the way that they do it. So I would come in, I would work just like the men, whatever hours they were working, I would work those same hours. They would go out after work drinking, so I would go out after work and drink with the men.
My gosh.
I would eat whatever they were ordering in for lunch. I would eat whatever they were eating. And then I just started to look and feel like one of the men. and that's when I had to stop.
Balding in the beer belly.
Yeah. I didn't want to wake up at 40, with balding and a beer belly.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I was exhausted. I had gained a good amount of weight, just even in the first 6 weeks of joining. None of my clothes that I had purchased to wear at my new job, my new career, would fit me anymore. And the cystic acne that I had been battling with since high school, since since we were kids, was really at its worst at that point. Just big, red, painful cysts all over my face. And it was affecting my self-confidence, affecting my career, affecting my dating life. And it was that was kind of at my peak of feeling at my worst. really.
The lowest of low.
Yeah. And on top of that, but I thought somebody here in New York City is going to be able to save me. They're going to be able to fix me, even though
Like the best dermatologists and
yeah, there's the best doctors here in this city. Mm-hmm. And I had already tried so many different things
like
over the years.
Accutane.
I did
like
the Accutane.
everything.
It didn't work when she did it. She did it for
I
a
did
long
the Accutane.
time.
It didn't work. I did all of the infomercial creams and
I know. What was it? Proactive.
oh yeah, the Proactive. I tried that so much.
Yeah.
And it didn't work for me.
Crazy lasers. I remember she had to do this laser where they put this acid on her face and made her sit under this lamp, and it just boiled the top layer of skin off her face. And she couldn't, we were roommates in Soho at the time, and like she couldn't leave the house for a full 7 days.
Yeah, they tell you don't leave the house. Don't let the sun see you.
Yeah.
Or anyone.
Or anyone see you. You really don't want anyone to see you.
Yeah.
At that point.
That was when some guy walked up to you, right? I think we escaped for a day before the 7
like,
days was
I'm just going to go down and get a coffee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But no, and a little old man came up and said, "Are you a burn victim? Are you okay? Did you just escape a fire?"
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And in a way I was. I mean, my face had just been fried.
Yeah, you went through a trauma.
Burnt off.
Wow.
And it was very painful. But, the acne that I had been affecting me for over a decade. I guess I was kind of depressed with it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was, like I said, affecting all these different areas of my life. And I was wearing it on my face. It wasn't something that I could just hide under clothes or something
anything
like that. It was
or sadness
there right when I walked in and met somebody for the first time. It was something I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm. And we hit our lowest of lows at just about the same time. My low came from years and years and years of dieting. I remember being 9 years old and going to Costco with my mom, and we walked through the supplement section, and I saw these diet pills, and I tried to hide them in the cart so she wouldn't see them. I was hoping she wouldn't notice at checkout, but not a sneaky child, because Costco only sells like the 4,000 tub of diet pills. But it was just so reflective of my consciousness at that age, and that at such a young age, I didn't feel pretty enough or skinny enough. And that narrative carried through all the way up until, we started Sakara, and my journey was really healing that narrative that I carried from such a young age. And it manifested in so many ways. Low self-esteem, not feeling good enough in many areas of my life. But more importantly, it was my relationship to my food. And unlike a messed up relationship to people or alcohol or substance abuse, like you have to eat every single day. So I had to constantly face this fear every single day. And so I reverted to dieting. And, diets are never the answer. They're short-lived. They're not looking out for your health. They're only looking out for your waistline. And they're never a lifestyle solution, because they're usually so restrictive, that you can't do it every single day. So it was this constant roller coaster of, I'd do something, and like if you told me what the diet was, I would like stick to it. I was a really good dieter. So I would do it, and then I'd be like, oh yay, I feel so good. But then I couldn't do it forever. So then you just slowly like fall from grace. And it was painful. And it just constantly reinstilled this idea that I wasn't enough and I wasn't enough, until finally I was, this is about the same time I went and did a 21-day retreat in Southern Arizona with these amazing healers and doctors. But I didn't get the experience I thought I was going to get. I thought I was going to have like this spiritual transformation. It was a 7-day water fast. Wow. And then 2 weeks of all raw food. So for the first 7 days of this retreat, you're only having water. You're not having juice. You're not having anything.
That's crazy.
And you're in the middle of like the Arizonan desert in July. And you're meditating for like 6 hours a day. It was pretty wild. And
living off the land.
Yeah. You're like living off the land. You're farming. I still cannot look at wheatgrass to this day. Yeah. And I got through the 21 days, even though it was really, really hard. And when I came back, the minute Whitney saw me, she was like, "You are not okay." Like I had really terrible stomach pains. I couldn't keep food down. I was like, I kept getting like colds over and over and over again.
You kept coughing nonstop.
Yeah.
So she had all these cupping marks all over her
like
back.
Acupuncture and cupping. Because like the last thing
Just
after
trying to
this
fix her cough.
cleansing retreat is like, I'm not going to go to the doctor. You know, you like kind of want to try and figure it out. And Whitney finally pulled the plug and she's like, "I'm taking you to the hospital. Like, this is not okay."
It was that bad.
It was that bad. So we went and I had a pretty terrible like gut issue and I had pneumonia. So I had to go on like all these antibiotics.
After you just did all the cleansing.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. And it was just so telling. That was my aha moment where it scared me. It scared me that I was that willing to go to such an extreme to change the way I looked.
Yeah.
And that extreme took me to an even bigger, deeper extreme and farther away from me feeling really good in my body.
Yeah.
So I was about to go to med school at that time. I just graduated from biochem and I switched my path and I decided to go and study nutrition. And the hope was to really heal myself and my own relationship to food. And, you know, that's what we ended up getting. Like the next year was dedicated to that. And we decided to come up with a meal program for each other. Yeah. It wasn't a business yet.
Did you both go or you just went and then
I went.
You guys just would like talk about it and
I mean, it was both of our passions. Even from early on, like with this type of upbringing.
And Whitney started studying yoga while she was working on Wall Street. Like we both kind of started to I started to diverge from medicine. She started to diverge from finance, and we met where we just wanted to heal each other. So
heal ourselves, heal each other.
And I'd come home talking about all this stuff I was learning, like the science behind the microbiome, like that 6 pounds of bacteria in your gut that's dictating everything. I was like, "Whitney, this is acne. Like if your gut is not healed, it shows up in various places. And you can compromise your gut in so many ways, from eating the wrong types of food, from eating non-organic foods, from stress, not getting enough sleep, bad water, all of these types of things. And nobody was talking about it at the time. You know, I was learning about the study of epigenetics and nutrigenomics and how your nutrition and your environment impact which genes are turned on and off. So you can actually be genetically predisposed for something, but then depending on your nutrition and your environment, you can turn on and off that gene. So people tend to think that their genetic makeup is like their fate or their future. And it's absolutely not true. And so, you know, we would talk about this and, you know, we'd read all the books and we'd say like, there are a lot of common threads throughout all of this. You know, making sure you're getting enough plants every single day, that they're high quality, organic and fresh, that you're getting enough colors, that you're getting enough greens, that you're getting enough nutrients, because people tend to think like avocado toast is like a salad. And, you know, sure, it's a great snack sometimes, but it can't be like a staple. We need to get this abundance of ingredients and plants. And so we devised this meal program based on a lot of those, what we now call pillars of nutrition. And we realized, one, how hard it was to do. Like we were spending all of our time either in the grocery store or in the kitchen. But we did it. And we decided to dedicate a month. We're like, we're going to eat like this for a month. And we would cook for each other. So that helped a little bit. And at about week 3, I think we both had this like shine down moment where we just started to see the difference in each other. People started to ask us like, "What are you guys doing? You look amazing." And not only you look amazing, but you look like brighter and happier. And for me, it was like the first time I realized I wasn't dreading my plate. I wasn't dreading eating, and I wasn't looking at calories or carbs or points or pounds, because my focus had shifted from, oh, am I getting too much? Like how many calories, how much fat's in that, to, am I getting enough? Like, am I getting enough greens every day? Am I getting enough nutrients every day? And that shift really helped me look at food as medicine instead of food as the enemy.
Yeah. And I feel like this is such an important piece to touch on too, because even still today, we get so many questions around what should I be eliminating from my diet? Or they'll look at my skin transformation and say, what did you take out of your diet to clear your skin? And it's not necessarily what I took out of my diet, but what I put in. So when Danielle's talking about, am I getting enough food? Am I getting enough nutrients? It's the same for clearing your skin or or a lot of other different concerns of, are we actually nourishing ourselves? Are we giving our bodies all of the nutrients it needs in order to really function at its best?
Yeah, and studies show that, the way you deal with what we think of as like bad food is very different if you're getting enough good food every single day. So, and it's actually not like, let me go binge for a few days and then cleanse for a few days. It actually matters every single day what you do. And that if you get enough of these whole plant-based ingredients into your diet every single day, if you have French fries at night, that's not the end of the world like it would be if you were eating crap all day.
Yeah.
And so we really try and instill this mentality of just do what you can do. Like eat this way as much as you can. I still grab for French fries and a glass of wine and no guilt. And that took me a long time to release that. But it's only because I know, one, I have a toolkit on how to get back to feeling like my best self. And that's by eating this way. And then I also know that I'm getting all of the things I need every single day from the Sakara meals. So I don't have to worry. And I know that my body deals with those, French fries in a very different way than it typically would.
Yeah,
Right.
I appreciate that so much about Sakara too, because I've been in the extreme. I'm a very extreme person, but I'm not anymore. And I was just explaining that to someone. It's so funny to think of myself as having been that way.
What does that mean for you? Like, what's an
Just
example?
like with the food stuff, the same with you. And like when I went to raw food culinary school and then I did all that. And then I'm just curious because when you learn more and you have this overload of information, that's when you can go like really far down.
Absolutely.
But what's so beautiful is that you guys created a platform as well. It's not just the meal delivery service. It's the whole lifestyle where eat this way the majority of the time. And it's okay that you eat all these other things. And on the weekends, enjoy time with your family, go out to dinner and cherish those moments that you have with your friends.
Absolutely.
And that's what's really going to help you stay balanced and love yourself and build that confidence. And instead of just like being in your house.
Perfect or And we always talk to our clients and we're like, what are you looking for? Like when you come to us and you say, what should I take out? Or, what are the rules I should follow? And it's like, well, what are you seeking? Do you want to lose a few pounds? Okay. But for what? Is it because you want to feel sexy? It's because you're going to go on a beach trip and you want to feel really confident in your bikini? Is it just for your own state of mind and you feel a little more powerful when you've lost those few pounds? To think about that higher goal, because that higher goal is really what you want. You don't really want the 3 pounds. That's like a step to the place that you want to get.
Yeah.
And so by helping people focus on this higher goal, I think it helps them like relax the neuroses and the need to like control every single component of their life in general, not just their plate, so that they start to realize that it's what you are what you do the majority of the time. And that, I don't think too many people have fun eating a perfect diet. And if there are people out there that do have fun, good for them. But for most of us, we're living in this lifestyle where we'd have to say no to a lot of things, and that you deserve that joy factor and you deserve to like go out and have options and not feel like, you can only stay home and eat Sakara
or eat something and then feel really guilty after.
Yeah.
That's terrible too.
Yeah.
Because you should really enjoy it if you're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually hear from a lot of our clients that one of the surprising results or benefits that they get is a sense of freedom, that they didn't even realize how stressed out they were around food or making these decisions every day, trying to be healthy, feeling guilty if they ate the wrong thing, worrying about where the food is coming from. It's a lot of decisions. It's a lot of brain space that they're given back. If you think about how much time you're spending every day thinking about your food and what's your next
especially if you were like us. Like, how much time did we spend thinking about food?
Way too much time.
So much time.
And
like,
especially once you learn, once you become a really educated consumer, it becomes even more difficult.
Yeah.
And that can take up even way more time, stress, energy. And so for a lot of our clients, this is a way where they can just let all of that go. They can trust that we're doing the work for them, that we're doing all of the sourcing, because we're the most neurotic when it comes to sourcing and ingredients and what's going into your food.
We'll be neurotic for you.
Right. And so we wanted to make it easy too, where you have enough things on your plate, especially when I was working on Wall Street. I had enough things on my plate. I was trying to fight this uphill battle on a career path and had everything, all the wins against me. And so if I could have that extra brain power back and also feel good in my body and have that energy, then I knew I was going to do better. And so we wanted to give that to other people and give them the time back, the brain space back, and give them something that all they had to do was open it up and eat it.
Yeah.
Because we had all of the cookbooks and we read all of the blogs and we had all this information, but we just needed a jump start, somebody for the meals to just show up at our door so that we could start to feel good again. Because once that happens, then it becomes a little bit easier to make the right choices and whatnot. You just sometimes need that kickstart moment. Yeah.
And like that everything's connected too, you know, that what you like, we know now how much the microbiome impacts what you think and how you feel and how well you sleep and how balanced your hormones are, and that your microbiome is completely dependent on what you eat. And so, you know, when that term, like you are what you eat, it's really true. And so, you know, if we can fuel you, if we can nourish you so that you can, you know, biologically and biochemically start to feel better, like that's the most empowering feeling, you know, like, you know, that feeling when you feel like your best self, which I've found out so many people don't even know what that feels like. And it breaks my heart because we all are just kind of walking around being okay with feeling just okay.
Yeah, feeling,
you know?
just mediocre.
Yeah, and
mediocre
people don't know,
everything.
they don't know what to do. And I always tell them, you know, the most exciting part, especially because I tend to like talk to a lot of people that went through my struggle, it's like the most exciting part is that you won't feel like you're on a diet, and that instead of kind of dreading the next day because it's not typically what you'd eat, you start to change. You physiologically start to change, and the more you start to eat this way, the more you start to want to eat this way, that it changes your cravings and your taste buds, and you kind of get addicted to feeling really good. And so, like, people at first might feel like it's a compromise to eat mostly vegetables instead of their, I don't know, burger and fries or sushi or whatever they typically go for. But then they start to feel the results and see the results. And that's the addicting part.
Yeah. And even small changes make a difference. So even just swapping out your regular snack bar or something like that.
Or granola.
Yeah. Where we just released our new line of plant-based protein bars. And it was because it was something that we wanted. It's something that we like to use. We throw it in our bag. We're always on the run. We're always traveling. I mean, finding something healthy to eat at the airport, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But we were shocked by the ingredients in some of these bars and the way that they're made, or even some of the ones that were quality, but the way that they tasted. And so we knew we had to create ones that reached our level of standards, and that on top of that actually had a function to them. So we believe that when you're eating, you should be getting the most out of your meal, that your food should be working for you, not against you. A lot of times when you eat food and it's not good, it can put you into a food coma or do negative things.
Bloat.
Get puffy.
Yeah.
And so you want to be eating foods that have positive benefits. So we have an energy bar and a detox bar that contain active functional ingredients to give you more energy right when you need it, or to help you fight daily toxins like we're getting here in New York City.
Well, your entire pantry line is amazing. Not just the bars. It's like the popcorn. It's everything as a replacement of what people would go for, but they can go for the healthy version. And that also takes me to going back even before the pantry line. Obviously you had to, so you find this meal delivery that you want to create, or this, you knew that this needs to be something that's accessible to people.
Yeah.
That I know is crazy to embark on this journey, because food standards, even though like FDA doesn't have enough, obviously we want more labeling, we want more. At the same time, there are so many hurdles to go through to create a business like this.
Yeah.
And it's insane. So I want to hear about that, because obviously sometimes it's better not to know when you fall into something, or else you would just overwhelm yourself and not even get started.
I think we have built the most difficult business on the planet.
Yeah.
Like
It's fresh
it's
food,
still the hardest
it's organic.
business.
It has to taste good and it has to look pretty.
And
but
deliver
more importantly, it
results.
has to like make you feel good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
there's a lot of boxes to
distribution
check.
nationwide.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
It's a lot of
wild.
logistics.
I mean, we have 100 employees, so it takes a lot of
Really
hearts
smart
and
people.
hands to make sure that the product gets to people in the way that it does now.
So how did that happen, and how long did it take from ideation to actually getting it into people's hands?
You know, I say this a lot, but at the time when we started, like we weren't afraid to start with one client.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think sometimes people feel like when they start, they're like, oh, and I need this big splash. And maybe in today's market you do, but you know, I tend to not think that that is true. I think that you have to just start where you are. And we were so attached and inspired by our mission because we'd felt the results, and I would say eating this way saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that I just wanted, and we both just wanted people to be able to experience that in some way. So, you know, our first client was a friend that was like, what are you guys doing? I want it. Like, can you just deliver it to me? And then they told someone, and then they told someone, and then we decided to make a website. So we made it ourselves. And then, you know, somebody else found out about us, and, you know, we were just cooking ourselves and we were delivering ourselves.
Yeah.
And we were the accountants, we were the legal team, we were the delivery people, we were the chefs, we were the customer service, we were the marketing. And we just, you know, we didn't sleep, and we just gave it our entire heart, souls, lives. And we just decided to like stick to that core mission. And early on, you know, you get one transformational story and you're like, okay, like we're absolutely on to something. And it's not like we didn't have naysayers. I mean, we had so many naysayers and people that weren't trying to be rude. They were just trying to like honestly say like, why are you doing this? This is a terrible idea. What's Sakara? And we're like, no, it's Sakara. And
you
like,
should change your name. Nobody's going to know what that is.
they're like, call it Healthy Meals NYC.
Oh no.
But you know, Whitney and I mean, one, having each other was like, it would never have manifested if that wasn't the case. But just really knowing so clearly what our mission was made all of the things that are typically very hard. It just made them seem like you just had to go.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like people don't talk enough about how difficult entrepreneurship is.
No.
Because
and it can be lonely.
There's been this huge
things.
wave of making entrepreneurship so sexy and idolized. And so everybody wants to become an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to start their own business. Yeah. And then, but they don't realize that it's really, really hard, that it's like having a child. The child isn't just going to go away one day. Maybe you can give it to a babysitter for a few hours, but it takes attention every hour of the day. And sometimes it keeps you up in the middle of the night. And it has different stages when it's a baby and an adolescent and a teenager and new challenges at each point. And that it takes you growing as a person, that you have to be willing to go through a spiritual change of looking at what are you good at? What are you bad at? What about you needs to change in order to help this business grow? Can you lean into your most challenging areas of life and take it head on? Because it is going to put all of that in front of you. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not going to succeed. And I think that having a partner through it really is like we're in a marriage with a child. And so
pick the right person.
Pick the right person. Yeah. Work on communication skills. If you have to go to counseling, go to counseling. And, you know, and I think that if I have, you know, one thought around what it takes to succeed, it's you don't give up. Like if you want a relationship to succeed, you find ways around to make it happen. Of course, it has to be the right pieces and the right people and all of these different components, but that you have to have that drive and desire. And for us, it's the mission. It's that feeling inside of us that we know that eating this way, eating these products that we're making, on starting to learn this knowledge and philosophy around how to live the Sakara life will change lives. And for us, it's way too much information. It's way too big for us to keep to ourselves. So it drives us every single day to share it with the world. Mm-hmm. That keeps us going.
What have you guys learned about people through the process?
That's a really interesting question.
Because people are really interesting.
People are so interesting. I mean, I think one of the most valuable lessons is just to like really keep it human. It's easy to like, because everything's so digital right now and on social media or on emails, to just kind of keep this distance and say like, oh, okay, sorry that happened. We're going to refund you. Bye. And it feels like this out of the box solution instead of really treating people like human beings. And that when you do that, people are so forgiving and so loving, and they want to be on this journey with you. But you have to treat them like a human being. So early on, we made so many mistakes. Like we'd have to like recall salads because an ingredient went bad. We had to like call and say, we can't deliver today because, a chef didn't show up. Like there were so many things early on that we had to figure out and so many mistakes. And I think one of my big lessons has just been to like be totally honest, let people go on the ride with you, because I don't think anyone really expects perfection. And when something's not perfect, then just be compassionate and true, and you'll get the forgiveness that, you're seeking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Deep down, most people are looking for love in different forms, and that this sounds so hippie in Sedona, but we really do deliver love in a box. And that sometimes that's what people need from us too, is yes, the nutrition is important, but also just a moment of being taken care of.
Yeah.
And a lot of our clients are women, about 85%. And women these days are trying to do it all. They're trying to be a career woman. They're trying to be a good mother, a good wife and a lover, a good friend, a good sister, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's a lot on people's plates, and it can be overwhelming. And so I think for us being that for somebody else of let us just take care of you, let us help nourish you, let us just take one thing off your plate or put one thing on your plate.
Yeah.
Then, that's one thing that people are looking for, is just being taken care of and loved.
Well, it's so true what you're saying. And I know it does sound hippie, totally hippie, but what you've created isn't just a meal delivery that like you get and you open and then you're like, okay, fine, I'm going to eat this. It's like when you get that Sakara bag, you're so excited to open it up and see what's in there and what's new. And that joy is just, obviously it just goes back to the community that you've created and the mindset, like going back to changing your mindset around food and how you're able to show people that instead of just like explain it through something they read. It's just, it's so powerful.
Absolutely.
But for you guys, you've solved the food problem for other people and maybe for yourselves too, but you have so much going on as well. Like you have this business, you have families that you're building. You
Danielle's
have so many
having a baby.
Danielle's having a baby. You got married. Like there's so much happening. And how are you guys doing all of it?
I thought you were just going to say like, how are you doing?
Yeah. How are you doing right now? Are you warm? It's kind of getting hot in here. Do you delegate a lot of things? Like,
this is the first year that I think we're leaning into that a little bit more. But it's been 6 years of like full dedication, and probably it's been longer of, our heart and soul in it. So, there are things we can delegate, but there's things we can never, ever delegate. And ultimately the success of the business is solely on our shoulders. And so there are definitely stresses, but I think I've learned over the past, I'd say 18 months especially, that I am Sakara. you know, and that Whitney is Sakara, and that I don't have the luxury, or I wouldn't call it the luxury, but I don't have the option of not taking care of myself, because I am Sakara, I am a representative. And if I don't show up as my best self, I can't tell other people how to show up as their best selves. And, you know, I learned that the hard way. You know, there were a couple years spent of just, you know, working so hard and, you know, still eating well, but just not doing the things that, you know, I wanted to do and I felt empowered by, and getting caught up in this idea of what does a businesswoman look like and what does a CEO look like, and trying to be something that ultimately in my heart I didn't want. And so I think you have to find your authentic self, and, you know, the journey is important. So it's not like I regret the time. You know, I learned so much. I feel like we have 7 MBAs now.
Yeah.
We can speak to every single component of the company, from, you know, we raised our series financing. We, you know, are familiar and with all of our financial models. We know how much we spend on marketing. We're on the branding side. We're on the social side. We're going out and speaking. So we know every component, and like the delivery and operational side. So we learned so much, but I think now is the time to really go out, and Whitney likes to say, and shine, and make sure that, you know, what we bring to the world is different than what like our CFO brings to the world.
Yeah.
And that we don't need to be caught up in that day to day. And I think it's really important that we're not. And so this year, I think, is really the first year where we're together realizing that, and making headway on making sure we're getting out and talking to our clients. Like, you know, being able to see their faces and speak to them again is so empowering and inspiring, I think, for both of us. And to just be a louder voice in the community, so that, you know, every time we're sitting at our laptop answering emails, like, we're doing a disservice to Sakara.
Yeah.
So focusing on that more, I guess, outward energy instead of inward.
When you say talking to your clients, what does that look like?
I was just at SoulCycle last weekend, and this client came up to me, and it just literally means being out and about. There are other versions, like we host events and dinners and things like that for our clients. But I was just at SoulCycle, and she was like, "Are you Danielle from Sakara?" And so we started talking, and she had just done one of our programs. Have you done our level 2 program yet?
I really want to, but I can't now that I'm pregnant.
Right.
So, yeah.
So it's just we call it kind of like the next level 2. So it puts the body into ketosis. It's only 5 days. We worked with Dr. Abiva Ram on this program. But she had just done it with her 88-year-old mother.
Wow.
And she's like, it's the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. And she talked about her journey and just how grateful she was to have that tool in her toolkit. And, you know, learning, and we talked for a long time, and learning that from her, and learning, like, getting some of her feedback. Like, I get to bring that back and implement change, or inspire the team to remember that they're impacting lives every single day. So just being available and out in the world instead of sitting in the office is much more valuable to Sakara at this stage.
Yeah.
Than, you know, just sitting in the conference room answering emails and going through Excel spreadsheets.
What's going to happen with Sakara? What's your future with the baby and everything? You're still obviously working on it full time. So what are you seeing? What are your visions for moving forward?
Well, one, when you say with the baby and things like that, we've put a stake in the ground of being one of the best places for women to work, and that we don't think that you have to choose between being a mother or being a career woman, that there is a way to do both. Right now we have 3 women on our team that are pregnant, Danielle included. We have 2 that are breastfeeding.
At the office.
Yeah. Our infrared sauna, our higher dose infrared sauna also doubles as a pump station. And making it where it's okay to be a mother and to work in a feminine way.
Yeah.
That you don't have to do things in a male energetic way, that you can do things from a feminine perspective, the way that you would naturally. And being a mother is part of that. And our women, when they go through that transition phase and become a mother, they come back and they're so decisive and they're fast and they're efficient because
they value time.
Yeah, their time just became so much more valuable to them. So, you know, that's, I think, one thing that with Danielle having a baby, it's just going to be another amazing blessing and another piece of the Sakara path.
Yeah. And it also, I feel like, is this rite of passage where, Whitney and I started the company very young. And, we're so grateful for our early supporters and the success we've had. But I think there is this, I guess, energy around us where I think even though, now we're in our 30s and it's been 6 years and it's a multi-million-dollar business, there is still this sort of narrative that surrounds us. It's like two young girls that started a business. And I think motherhood is one of those rites of passage that allows you to move from like this maiden young self to like the mother. And I think that will only help us as CEOs running this company, that there becomes like not only this innate trust, but I found even just being 5 months pregnant that there's this camaraderie that all of a sudden, like whoever said that, women are catty or don't like each other, like was never a mother, because the minute you become a mother, women are like right there and they want to support you and they want to tell you what helped them and they want to really lift you up. And I think that being seen as a mother and a CEO is only going to be incredibly helpful for Sakara and Sakara's future.
Yeah, even more empowering.
Yeah.
What about for investors? Do you have you chosen people who allow you to run your business? Obviously, I mean, that's what I'm assuming. But how is it navigating that landscape?
It was some of the most stressful times of our lives when we raised our first round, for sure, because you're getting into another marriage.
Yeah.
And, we had...
Putting more people in the bed.
And we had heard so many horror stories of people that brought on the wrong type of investor, got the wrong type of valuation, brought on the wrong amount of money, built the wrong board, and just like how it can impact your company and how it's built. So we met with a lot of people to try and find the one that felt right for us. And we ended up, I think, being some of like the luckiest founders in the world.
Very blessed.
Did you have mentors through the process, or was it?
We did, but we also just dove in. I think one thing is like Whitney and I, we aren't scared of a lot of things because I think it's also helpful to have each other, but like we enter the room together and like, I'm not afraid to ask a question that maybe I should know the answer to. It's like, I wasn't afraid to like look dumb in their eyes if there was something. Like, it was my first time raising money. So it was a huge learning curve. But yeah, finding the right people is huge because it impacts decisions that I didn't even know it would impact at that time. So how you did the type of company you decide to build, like where you allocate dollars, is how like that will determine the kind of company that you will build, and will determine your success or your failure, or if you'll be acquired or not acquired. And so you want to be aligned on a lot of those things early on, but there's only so much. It's not like you can go through the checklist of 10 million things before you sign the papers. So there really has to be this innate trust and connection. And on the side of the investors, there has to be a lot of faith in the founders. And early on, we met with our two lead investors who were the former CFO of Priceline and the former CEO of Priceline. And they weren't clients, but they just got it. They got what we were doing, and instead of trying to like get stuck on the mission and what we were doing, they were like, okay, we get it. And that's really important to the business, but we also see you in terms of numbers, and your numbers are amazing. So it was like, some people would try and come in and say, oh, I really like your mission, let's invest. Or, oh, like, I don't really get your mission or what you're doing, and let me just see the numbers. And they had this really beautiful mix of, really aligning on both our mission and the technical business that we'd built.
That's amazing. Yeah. So they're still in it with you.
Yeah. I mean, we text our lead investor probably every other day or every few days.
That's so great. I mean, I think a lot of people who are starting their own business, it's another thing people can get money from their family and friends to start something, but then when they really want to take it to the next level, it's a whole nother thing that maybe reading a book or going online doesn't really give you enough information, because you're like, what is that really like? What is it like for a woman to go into a boardroom and
that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Not
It's
have
different.
confidence maybe or whatever. So it's really nice to hear stories. It's kind of like I've been hearing so many birth stories and I love it. And sometimes I'm like terrified, but then I appreciate as a whole everything I've heard.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that, I guess, for people who don't have children, or because this is their child that they're
absolutely. And like birth stories, it's like you want to hear the good and the bad, but you also have to accept that that is their story and not yours. So, you know, when we heard all those horror stories, I think we kind of didn't know that this amazing investor and type even existed, like, because we hadn't heard a lot of positive stories about getting early investment. And so, I think throughout this, just remembering that, you know, you are in control of your own narrative. And if you just get as specific as possible on the type of relationship that you want.
So what's your message for other women, either clients of yours, people on Sakara right now, or who are juggling a lot, and what do you want to share with them ultimately? I mean, that's kind of what we've been talking about this whole time, but in a nutshell, like, what is it that you want them to walk away with, whether they're on Sakara for a week or for a lifetime?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I guess the way I think about it is that, you know, we are constantly in this mindset of fear and of lack, and that really holds all of us back in so many ways. And if you can find the things that help you feel really good and remind you that there is an abundance and that there is enough time, enough money, enough love for every single person, that's the mindset that I think we all need to strive for. But you have to be reminded daily. So, you know, for me, it was such a life changer to just have healthy food waiting for me, because that was one of the areas where I had a lot of fear and I felt like there was a lot of lack. So that eased some of my stresses and anxieties around that. So, you know, find your fear, find where you believe there is lack, and really try to lean into love and abundance, because there really is enough for everyone. Yeah.
I would say, well, the meaning of Sakara, it's a Sanskrit word, and it means the manifestation of thoughts to things. So giving form to that doesn't even have form, like your thoughts, your dreams, your ideas, hopes, and goals, and turning them into something real, something maybe physical that you can touch and feel and share with others. And I think Sakara is a way that we help people to manifest their dream life, their Sakara life, through realizing that what you put into your body has an effect on every part of your life. It has an effect on your physical body, but your energy levels, how you perform at work and in your career, how you are, it balances your hormones. So how you are with your love relationships, and other and friendship relationships, your mood and happiness levels. And I think that once you realize that you have, in a way, control over all of those things, how good you can feel, then you realize that you have the opportunity to build a lot of what you want in your life, that you're not a victim to things happening to you, but that you have a way to create that you're sitting in the driver's seat, that you can create the things that you want in your life, and that it starts with you. So using Sakara as a tool to help them manifest the life that they want to live.
I love that. It's so beautiful. And I love sitting down and talking with you
so
and
nice
meeting you.
to chat with you.
Thank you so much for coming here today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.